Hey guys, I'm Zelda Master and I'm here to give you my ultimate breakdown of Breath of the Wild 2. Ever since this was announced, I've been thinking of the many possibilities for the sequel, and now that I'm finally home from E3, I can bring you guys everything we know about this upcoming sequel. Because after watching the trailer so many times, I finally picked up on a lot of things I didn't pick up at first. And first off, I think I should mention that the director of Zelda, Aonuma, mentioned in an interview how Breath of the Wild 2 was originally meant to be DLC for Breath of the Wild, but they ended up having too many ideas that it turned to be much more than that, an actual sequel to the game. So as the name implies, this is a direct sequel after the events of Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild ends with Zelda sealing Calamity Ganon. But what is Calamity Ganon? The Ganon we knew from the series was a Gerudo warrior who was once known as Ganondorf, turning into the beast Ganon, but Calamity Ganon was something completely different from the series. And that alone brings a lot of questions that can be answered for this upcoming sequel. Like, note how in the game, it is not necessary to use the Master Sword or save the Divine Beast to defeat Calamity Ganon. Calamity Ganon is actually very weak. Link doesn't need any of the necessary tools the hero needed normally to defeat Ganon. So is this really the Ganon that was prophesized in the legend? Needing the hero with the Blade of Evil's Bane and the princess with its sealing powers? Probably not, because you can defeat Calamity Ganon as soon as you start Breath of the Wild. You don't need any of these tools. See, what I originally thought was that Ganondorf's body had finally perished over time, and that his spirit remained haunting Hyrule was Calamity Ganon. But it seems like I was wrong. Maybe sealing Ganon away was actually sealing his body away, but instead of him breaking his seal, his evil spirit managed to leak out of his body, creating the Malice and Calamity Ganon. So Calamity Ganon may just be another Phantom Ganon like the other Blight Ganons. All of these are his puppets from his evil. His body is where the real evil lies. And this could explain why if you get the Master Sword, Link never puts away the Master Sword, as usually after he defeats Ganon and seals him away, Link returns the Master Sword to its pedestal. But it seems that Link and Zelda know that there is more to discover, as probably after Breath of the Wild, they eventually decide to explore underneath Hyrule, similar to where the Calamity Ganon battle was. And now that the Calamity is gone, they are able to explore under Hyrule Castle, learning about the many things that were hidden underground. And this could be how the trailer starts off, with both Link and Zelda deciding to explore underneath Hyrule Castle. So now let's get into the trailer and analyze everything we can about it. So the first shot is this weird green aura that looks like a bunch of weird squiggles, but it actually represents text saying, "Seal Ganon" in Gerudo. Now this wasn't discovered by me, credit to the person who discovered this, but yes, it does form out Seal Ganon if you look at it close enough. And another thing about this aura is that the color is very similar to how the Champion Spirits and King Rhoam's spirits looked like, along with being a similar color to the aura that surrounds Link when performing a champion ability. So already in the first shot, a very vague shot, there is a lot to take from this. We then see that aura forming a spiral that originates from a hand, that is actually covering the chest of a corpse. Now let me go out on a limb, no pun intended, that this could be what the previous hero left behind to seal Ganon away. This green-like hand forming a spiral could be what's holding Ganon, and it could be the one that was sealed on Ganon's body 10,000 years ago. You can even see the malice-like energy exit the corpse, as the body is the source of its dark energy. This could be the result of it leaking over time, creating Calamity Ganon and all the malice that surrounds Hyrule. It's also worth noting that the room this corpse is surrounded in looks a lot like a room designed by the Sheikah. So the conclusion already from just the first two scenes is that this is Ganondorf's corpse, with the power of the previous hero still keeping Ganon sealed after 10,000 years, but over time, it managed to leak from the seal, and bits of malice managed to leak out. So this hand could be the power of the previous hero that managed to seal Ganondorf's body away, the one from 10,000 years ago. And now after all this time, his body has managed to leak parts of his evil, and well, Calamity Ganon was created once more. Now while this is a lot of information to take from two very vague scenes, all of this will start to connect as we further analyze the trailer. The next scene is of Link and Zelda traversing this dark and forgotten pathway, and you can see drawings on the wall. One drawing on the wall is a man on horseback with the Gerudo symbol on his back, resembling Ganondorf as a human. Now this is most likely Ganondorf, as it is a Gerudo man, and normally Gerudo men aren't born into the race of Gerudo except every 100 years, and even that has kind of discontinued throughout Breath of the Wild, so possibly Ganondorf is really the only Gerudo man we've ever known of. We then see a bunch of Gerudo women following this Gerudo man with some in front of him. This could be telling the story of when Ganondorf was the King of Thieves, the King of the Gerudo. We then see a top-down view of the hand sealing Ganondorf with the text spiraling out of it, with again malice being shown coming out of the body. Could all the malice throughout Hyrule be sourced from Ganondorf's body? Like this is a never-ending source of evil? It honestly wouldn't surprise me. Maybe the true source of evil is coming from Ganondorf's body. We then see Link and Zelda exploring what seems to be the underground pathway lit by Luminous Stones. Now note, Luminous Stones are believed to contain the souls of the dead, which is why they glow. This is pretty interesting with where they are exploring at and what they find at the very end. But I'm unsure if this really plays any part in it. I just thought I'd mention it because it is worth noting. We also see Zelda on an unfamiliar mount that we see within the game, so hopefully this will become an available mount within the upcoming game. And you can see that Zelda has a new look for her, cutting her hair short. I want to say that is a pretty good look for her. We then see Link and Zelda finding the corpse of Ganondorf, with the source of malice coming from it. Link also seems to have a slight change in his getup in the sequel. While he is still wearing the champion's tunic, it seems to be paired with parts of the Hylian armor. Maybe we will get more customization in the next game, from being able to also select selective gloves and boots, separated from the shirts and pants. If so, I would love to see that within the next game, as it would truly add so much more customization to Link and his attire. We then see Link, Zelda, and their mount resting in a dark place, probably as they continue their journey throughout this dark, weird pathway underneath Hyrule Castle, maybe before they found Ganondorf's body. So maybe throughout their search for Ganondorf's body, it took them quite a while, with them having to rest up throughout their adventure. Again, there's also a bunch more Luminous Stones surrounding them, but I'm not entirely sure if there's a reason behind it, or if it's just there to help light up the area. Also, the structures they seem to be walking past reminds me a lot of the ancient ruins we see throughout Hyrule. So I really hope this game will explain the lore behind all of these ruins we found throughout Hyrule. Maybe there's an explanation deep down underneath Hyrule. We then see the malice-like energy rush forward as it resembles hands sweeping a rat along the way. At the pace it's moving at, it looks like it's either rushing away from its body or rushing back towards the body. Could the body be absorbing all the malice back into it? We then see a shot of Link and Zelda crossing a bridge throughout this dark underground area. So clearly this area is really massive and there's a lot to explore throughout it. I wonder if we're going to be able to explore underneath Hyrule in the game itself. And again, there's a bunch of luminous stones surrounding the area, could be lighting up the area, or could be lore behind it, as again, the luminous stones do symbolize souls of the dead. We then see a shot of something rather interesting. It's of Zelda surprised about something, but Link isn't. Now, this could be that Link just never shows any emotion and nothing really surprises him, but I do believe that Zelda may have seen something she probably remembers, or text that she can only understand. And then a close-up shot of the true terror of this teaser. Ganondorf's corpse, and you can see the malice flowing out of it. Again, it looks like this is the body that houses all of the evil that the malice came out of. And then we see a better shot of the withered corpse, and you can see the Gerudo jewelry on his body, along with his long red hair that Ganondorf is known for, similar to what was actually depicted on Calamity Ganon. And the next shot shows you a better view of the Gerudo logo on the cloth underneath his body, confirming that this man is Gerudo. So clearly this has to be Ganondorf, from the text, to his looks, to the Gerudo symbol. So that we are certain of. We then see a close-up of the hand that is sealing Ganon, looking like it is trying to cover the malice escaping his corpse. Now what's very interesting about this is that the hand is covering the exact same part where Ganondorf was stabbed in within Twilight Princess when being executed by the sages, and the same spot that Link stabbed him in before Zant finished the job, leaving him there. So what if the true source of his evil is within his actual body? Mentally dead or not, he will return as long as his remains are there. So maybe the true way to get rid of Ganon is to get rid of his actual body. We then see another shot of his body with a better view of his headpiece, which seems to be glowing. And now this headpiece looks very similar to what he wore in Twilight Princess. We then see a scene of Link absorbing similar energy to what looks like the hand sealing off Ganondorf. And what's interesting is that the energy seems to be going into Link's hand, maybe symbolizing that this energy was the hand of a previous hero that sealed Ganondorf. And now, Link has unlocked that power for himself. As I find it worth noting that while we see the hand sealing Ganondorf's body, the spiral it creates and the text it resembles reminds me of the spiral of the Kokiri Emerald from Ocarina of Time, which also represents courage. So could this green aura define courage for Link? The red malice define the power of Ganon, and the blue Sheikah tech define the wisdom for Zelda? It really makes sense with how things play out. While the Triforce is never mentioned in Breath of the Wild, it could have played a role without us even knowing. And maybe this is where Link gets his true power to defeat Ganon, as even the King of Hyrule mentions to Link that the power to seal Ganon is laid dormant under Hyrule Castle. Could this be the power the King of Hyrule was talking about? The power of the previous hero that sealed Ganon for all of these years, and now that the new hero has encountered it, it has passed on to him? It then cuts to the malice-like energy that seems to be creating a hand coming out of Ganondorf's corpse, rising up to the ceiling as it spreads into different waves. Could this be the moment where the hand sealing off Ganondorf had just broke? And with nothing sealing his chest, the malice and darkness within him overflows and shoots out of his chest? As we then see a shot of Zelda falling down as Link tries to grab her hand, somewhat similar to a scene that happens in the original Breath of the Wild. But this time, instead of them running away, it seems that the floor is collapsing on them, and Link is trying to save Zelda from falling down. This could be the exact moment where Ganondorf's seal is broken, and the malice destroys everything around him, collapsing everything within the room. As we then see a view of what could be the temple Ganondorf's corpse was held in. Again, it looks very similar to the mysterious ruins we already seen throughout Breath of the Wild's Hyrule. And speaking of everything collapsing, we then see a shot of Link falling himself. But the mysterious hand that was once sealing Ganondorf grabs Link to try to save him. And note that the hand looks very old and withered. While it does look like it's trying to grab Link, preventing him from escaping, it could be trying to save him, preventing him from falling. So could this hand be the energy of the previous hero grabbing on to the current hero, eventually transferring its power into Link? And then probably the most interesting shot within this teaser, and that is a shot of Ganondorf's corpse before a weird flash happens on the screen, showing the shadow and the hand unsealing Ganondorf. Now if you pay really close attention to this shot, you can actually see a cloaked person right by Ganondorf's corpse. Now my theory is that this is a Yiga Clan member that managed to follow Link and Zelda, and his goal was to unseal Ganondorf. So maybe while Link and Zelda managed to find Ganondorf's body, this Yiga Clan member that was spying on them makes it to Ganondorf's corpse and attempts to unseal him, removing the hand from his seal. This then causing the whole room to be destroyed from the dark energy leaving Ganondorf's corpse, destroying the whole room and having everything collapse, leading to Link trying to grab Zelda's hand and the hand trying to grab Link's hand. So maybe while everything was collapsing, or after everything collapsed, once the hand was removed from Ganon, unsealing him, it decided to move its energy into Link's hand, Link then absorbing that new energy to hopefully use it against Ganondorf himself. But with Ganondorf being unsealed, we then see after everything settles from everything collapsing, that his hand starts moving. Zelda then immediately reacting to it, noticing that after the body has fell from the collision, that it's now alive. So now that the seal has been removed, Ganon can finally regain control of his body, instead of sourcing his energy outside of himself. As at last, we see him awakening in his body with his eyes glowing red. And this is so exciting, as we've never fought Ganondorf in Breath of the Wild. Ganondorf was only referred to as Calamity Ganon, and while we may have fought the darkness within him that formed into energy, we never fought the actual Ganondorf. His body may be the true source of evil, and that's what Link has to defeat to finally get rid of Ganon once and for all. And this may be why his return was prophesized, as Ganondorf's body was sealed underneath Hyrule Castle, and they knew the seal can only hold on for so long, before it eventually created Calamity Ganon. But even that wasn't what Ganondorf truly wanted. He wanted to unseal himself completely, regaining control of his body. And maybe with the help of the Yiga, that comes to fruition, as I doubt Link or Zelda messed with the hand that was sealing Ganondorf's body when they first encountered it. They may have not had much time to react while the Yiga Clan spy managed to get to Ganondorf's corpse and remove the hand from Ganon, unsealing him and bringing him back to life. While I'm uncertain if it's a Yiga Clan's member or if the hand just managed to move on its own, I believe that in that moment, Ganondorf was revived, and Link managed to gain the true power of courage into his hand, which happens to be the energy of the hand sealing him. We then see a view of Hyrule Castle from the Great Plateau, and it's worth noting that there happens to be no divine beasts, shrines, or towers to be shown. Maybe they returned underground now that Link has finished his trials? So maybe this upcoming game won't focus on the Sheikah and their shrines, as Link has been trialed and now is worthy of the Master Sword, but focus more on Link saving Hyrule and becoming the true hero he should be. But this then leads to a shot of everything shaking as you can see Hyrule Castle emerging from the ground, maybe revealing what could be underneath this whole time. Could it be Ganon's castle? Or is Hyrule gonna change completely with areas underground? One thing that Breath of the Wild really lacked was caves and dungeons, so could Link and Zelda have to explore underground? Is this what Zelda's producer Aonuma mentioned when he said that this game would actually be darker than Majora's Mask? Will it literally be darker? Overall, I've always wanted a more darker like Zelda game, so I hope this one delivers. But then the trailer ends with a similar way with how it started, with it showing the green aura forming the text. As then it says that the sequel of Breath of the Wild is in development. So to summarize the trailer, Link and Zelda explore underneath Hyrule Castle after the events of Breath of the Wild, in which they find Ganondorf's corpse and the source of his evil. But while they are searching for this, they happen to be being spied by a Yiga Clan member that manages to remove the hand sealing Ganondorf and resurrecting him, bringing back the true Demon King. While none of this is necessarily confirmed, this is what I managed to get after watching the trailer so many times, and I truly believe that this is exactly what we're going to be getting in the final game. This will finally give Link a chance to take on the actual Ganondorf with his Master Sword fully powered up, as throughout Breath of the Wild, Calamity Ganon could be defeated with even Sheikah tech. So clearly this is going to be the true battle that Link was destined for. This would make sense in why Calamity Ganon was such a joke in Breath of the Wild. And personally I hope that this Ganondorf is still given consciousness, hopefully not waking up as a re-dead, but actually a villain with things to say, as he was such an amazing villain in previous titles. He was once known as the King of Thieves, the Gerudo King. I want to see Ganondorf in his true form. Overall, I'm just so excited for what Breath of the Wild 2 has to offer, and I can't wait for whatever trailers or info Nintendo has to drop next. Be on the lookout for anything Breath of the Wild related, as I'll be updating you guys the second we get it. It is honestly crazy how much you could break down from a minute teaser clip, but this makes me so excited for what's to come. Anyways, please let me know what you guys think of my analysis / theory of this trailer. I want to say I didn't theorize anything too far-fetched. Everything I mentioned was pretty much shown, so hopefully this is a given in what was seen. And yeah, please let me know if you think I missed out on anything or any theories you want to add yourself. Also, I'd really appreciate if you left a like on this video, especially if you are excited for Breath of the Wild 2. Anyways, as always, I've been Zelda Master. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!